Chapter 1. The Power of Surrender. In this chapter, we'll explore the foundational idea of surrender, not as giving up, but as letting go of control to open the path to deeper spiritual growth and freedom. Chapter 1. The power of surrender. The gift of letting go. Surrender is often misunderstood. When we hear the word, we might think of weakness or defeat. We associate it with giving up control, losing power, or simply accepting our circumstances without resistance. But true surrender is not about passively submitting to life's events or resigning ourselves to a fate we dislike. It is about releasing the need to control everything around us and opening ourselves to life as it is, with all of its unpredictability, challenges, and beauty. At first, the idea of surrender might sound counterintuitive. Why would we want to let go of control? Don't we need control to navigate the complexities of life? Don't we have to plan, act, and make decisions to create the life we desire? Yes, these are important, but there is a deeper layer to the question of control that most of us overlook. The desire for control comes from fear. Fear that things won't work out as we hope, fear that we won't be able to handle what life throws our way, fear that we'll be left powerless. And it's this very fear that creates resistance, a resistance to the present moment and everything that is happening right now. When we hold on tightly to the reins of life, trying to control every detail, we shut ourselves off from the flow of life. We become tense, anxious, and disconnected from our deeper self. But when we practice surrender, we open up a space for peace, trust, and growth. Surrender is the antidote to fear, and in surrender, we find freedom. Surrender is freedom. Surrender is not about being passive or complacent. It is an active choice to trust in the flow of life and to allow ourselves to be guided by something greater than our individual will. This could be God, the universe, nature, or simply the wisdom of our deeper self. It's an acknowledgement that we cannot control everything, and that, in fact, we are often better off when we stop trying to do so. When we surrender, we step into a space of freedom. Freedom from the pressure of trying to control every outcome. Freedom from the anxiety that arises when things don't go as planned, and freedom from the endless cycle of striving and struggling. In surrender, we allow ourselves to be who we truly are, without the need to fit into societal molds or meet external expectations. This freedom doesn't come from avoiding challenges or escaping from life's difficulties. Instead, it arises from our ability to face challenges with an open heart and mind, without resistance. We stop fighting against life's current and begin to flow with it. Surrender is not the absence of action, but rather the absence of unnecessary struggle. The resistance we don't see. Why do we resist in the first place? Often, our resistance stems from deeply ingrained beliefs and patterns of thinking. These beliefs may tell us that we must always be in control, that vulnerability is weakness, or that we must avoid discomfort at all costs. These ideas are often reinforced by society, which values productivity, achievement, and personal success above all else. However, resistance can manifest in subtle ways. We might resist by procrastinating, avoiding difficult emotions, or clinging to past hurts. We might resist by trying to micromanage the actions of others, or by pushing ourselves too hard to achieve goals that aren't in alignment with our true desires. This resistance is exhausting, and it keeps us trapped in a cycle of stress, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. True surrender is not about pretending that things are fine when they're not. It's about being honest with ourselves and accepting life as it is, without judgment, without the need to change or fix it, but with compassion and understanding. Surrender means acknowledging that we cannot control everything, and that it's okay. In fact, it's more than okay, it's liberating. The role of trust at the heart of surrender is trust. Trust that life is unfolding exactly as it needs to, even when things don't look the way we imagine. Trust that we are supported by a higher force, whether we call it the universe, divine energy, or our own inner wisdom. Trust that, despite the challenges we face, we are always being guided toward our highest good. This trust is not always easy to cultivate. It requires letting go of our need to have everything figured out, to have a clear plan for every moment. But when we surrender, we are choosing to trust that life knows what it's doing, even if we don't. And that's where the magic happens. When we trust, we open ourselves to the flow of life and allow ourselves to be guided by forces greater than our own limited understanding. Practical steps to practice surrender. 1. Let go of expectations. Expectations are the breeding ground for disappointment. When we let go of rigid expectations about how things should unfold, we free ourselves to embrace whatever comes our way. Surrender is about being open to life's surprises and trusting that they are part of the journey. 2. Practice acceptance. Acceptance does not mean resignation, it means recognizing and allowing things to be as they are. Practice accepting the present moment, even if it's uncomfortable. By doing so, we stop fighting against reality and open ourselves to what's possible. 3. Embrace uncertainty. Surrendering means stepping into the unknown. Life is full of uncertainty, and it's easy to let that uncertainty create fear. But uncertainty is where growth and transformation occur. The more we embrace the unknown, the more we realize that it's not something to fear, but something to welcome. 4. Cultivate presence. The present moment is where life is happening. To practice surrender, we must focus on the now, letting go of worries about the past or future. By being present, we can hear our inner guidance and trust that we are always on the right path. 5. Allow emotions to flow. Often, we resist our emotions because we fear they will overwhelm us. But true surrender means allowing our emotions to come and go without judgment. When we stop suppressing or avoiding emotions, we free ourselves from their grip. 6. Trust the process. Let go of the need to control the outcome. Trust that whatever happens is part of your path, even if it doesn't make sense at the time. Life unfolds in its own time, and all we need to do is show up with an open heart. Surrendering into your true self. Surrender is the doorway to discovering your true self. When you stop trying to be someone you're not, when you let go of all the roles and masks you wear, you uncover who you really are, your essence, your spirit, your soul. And that is where true freedom lies. This chapter is just the beginning of your journey into surrender. As you begin to practice these principles in your life, you will notice shifts, small at first, but powerful over time. You will begin to feel a sense of peace, clarity, and freedom that you may never have thought possible. Remember, surrender is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong practice. But as you continue to surrender to the flow of life, you will find that life begins to flow with you, gracefully, effortlessly, and joyfully. With the power of surrender in mind, the next chapter will explore understanding resistance, how to identify and overcome the internal forces that keep us stuck in old patterns. Would you like to proceed with that chapter next?